All right, so this session will, it is recording. So like I said, and what I will do, I will convert it to an MP4 file and I'll upload it in the Blackboard. Probably either, if it's not tomorrow, definitely for sure on Thursday. So if you want to just review or take a look at what I showed you, we can do that. All right, so I'm going to try to get this little puppy out of the way. Hopefully I won't lose it this time because that kind of really messed me up. All right, so so the first thing I want us to take a look at is I'm actually going to go to Google. And the reason I'm going to go to Google is because I know this is the first place where you go to do your research. We all use Google. I love Google. But when you come to Google, I really want you to be smart and I want you to start thinking about strategically where to go to get the information you need from Google. So there are two types of searches I want you to remember when you use Google. The first search is Google's advanced search. And you could just type in Google's advanced search in the box, and most of the time it just comes up. So this is Google's advanced search. And this is what the interface looks like for Google's advanced search. One of the nice things, and you see I was playing around and doing some searches. I'll take that off. One of the nice things I love about Google's advanced search is that you tell it what you want to search. You tell it what site or domain. Now for nursing students, I highly recommend that you take a look at two sites or domains, .gov, which is government, and .edu, which is education. And the reason why I recommend those two is because those two entities, we hope, give you the most unbiased data, and you want unbiased data. And if you take a look here, it gives you a breakdown. You can do .gov, .edu, .org, organizations. Sometimes you have to be mindful of of .org, and then .com may want you to buy something. So I always recommend that you do .edu or .gov. All right, so you see my little search here. I have phlebotomy injuries. But I was playing around with it, and I know, Ishmael, you were looking for some information about evidence-based articles, right? So let's say I have phlebotomy injuries. Oh, I hate when this does this. Hold on, let me see if I can shrink this a little bit more. So let's see, we're doing phlebotomy injuries. And let's see here, and I want to do phlebotomy injuries, but I want to do evidence-based phlebotomy injuries, right? So I'm going to type in, thank you, evidence-based. If I could spell, evidence-based phlebotomy injuries. So I'm just going to type that there. I'm going to scroll down here because I definitely want to make sure let's do .gov for government. And any format you can select, and then you can see if you want to do PowerPoint, PDF. So let's do PDF for the sake of this search. And I'm going to hit an advanced search. So guys, let me make this a little larger so you can see it. So what the advanced search does, it actually tells you these are all of the articles, or these are all of the PDFs that I got, and they are evidence-based for phlebotomy injuries. And I'm going to see if I can make this a little bigger here. All right, so there we go. Ooh, not that big. Okay. All right, so, and remember I did PDF. And of course, I did evidence-based, but I did phlebotomy injuries. And all of these are going to be .gov because I told Google I wanted .gov. So that's one of the nice things about Google's advanced search is that you tell it what site or domain, you tell it what type of hits you want, and then it goes out and it gets it for you. So I'm going to shrink that a little bit more. So we did evidence-based phlebotomy injuries. I did .gov. So now if I wanted to do .edu, you hit .edu. I'm going to hit advanced search. So as you can see, all of these articles or all of this data, PDFs, all edu. So because I told it I wanted education. So all of these hits are going to be evidence-based for phlebotomy injuries, but it's going to be from education. So that's just one format for Google that I'd like you to consider. Another one is Google Scholar, and I'm sure several of you have probably heard of Google Scholar. Google Scholar is Google's version of pulling together vetted articles from academia. So Google Scholar is basically all of your peer-reviewed content from Google. And what they do, researchers, of course, share their research with Google, and they make it so that it's globally accessible. So I'm going to do Google Scholar. A couple of nice things I do like about Google Scholar. All right, so let's do phlebotomy. If I could spell. All right, we'll do phlebotomy injury. So one of the things I want you to take a look at for Google Scholar, you already know you only want hits from so far back. I'm going to just do 2011 because I just want hits from 2011. Now, I do want to point out a couple of things for you. When you search Google Scholar, right, and when you're on WSSU's campus, if WSSU has the article, what will happen? The IPO from WSSU will pop up. So since I'm not on campus, I'm actually at home. The PDFs, these are actually the links from the PDFs directly from the vendor, which is still nice because either this is from ResearchGate, this is directly from this journal. So that's pretty nice. So Google will pick up the current or the closest IPO address, and they'll let you know where you can get the article from. One thing to take a look at, but it's not a break or make situation, but it does give some perspective as to how many times the article has been used or how many times people have actually cited it. If you take a look over here, you see where, let me make this a little bigger. You see where it says cited so many times. So this kind of gives you a perspective of how many times an article has been cited. Now, just because an article or a book hasn't been cited does not mean that it's not good work. It just meant that individuals who read it just haven't taken the time to cite it or write a review about it. But I think this is one of the nice features that Google offers. So we looked at Google Scholar and we looked at Google Advanced Search. So now, and if I wanted evidence-based, so if I type evidence, so right, if I did evidence-based phlebotomy injuries, I'm going to hit search. And then hopefully, I want since 2011, of course, hopefully we can see some hits with evidence-based for phlebotomy injuries or some other things. So if you're particular about getting evidence-based with Google, this is a good way to do it. Just go ahead and type it in your search box, and then that way you can get led to some articles about evidence-based for whatever you're looking for. So we looked at Google Scholar and we looked at Google's advanced search. So if you're going to use Google, I recommend, that you are strategic and smart about it, and then to use those two types of Google applications. All right, so any questions about the Google Scholar or Google Advanced Search? Because I'm going to get to our databases. All right, so now I will be periodically checking this. So if you have any questions, guys, I'm going to try to make sure, if you want, you can see your chat. I'm going to try to make sure that I'm constantly checking the chat box. And of course, you all can always just chime in when you're ready. So that's not a problem. All right, so let's get back here. So we are done with this. I'm going to close this out. And I did have some things open. So let me get back to Blackboard because I want to actually search directly from your research guide because I want to make sure that the links that I have are working, because I did have a student that had a problem with some of the links, and I thought I corrected them, but I want to make sure I did. So now I'm going to get to the Blackboard shell. And all right, so let me scroll down to your class here. Oh, this thing is so sensitive. All right, so let me get down to where your class is, and I'm looking for theory. Okay, so let me shrink this some more because it's not giving me everything. All right, so let's get to theory. Come on down. I'm looking for your class. Here we go. All right, this is what I'm looking for. So we'll go to WC W3. So let's select this one. So this is your, hopefully this will pop up. This is your Blackboard shell. Let me turn the edit mode off. All right, so this is what you see when you come to Blackboard. And I'm going to go to the librarian's corner right here because I actually would like to search from the research guide. All right, so this is the research guide. Okay, wonderful. And let's take a look at some of the links. So I know some of these I do need to repair because I see one right off the bat. So let's take a look at Academic Search Complete. When you get a chance, make sure you take a look at the APA examples if you get stuck with doing anything with APA. Because I do have examples of what the reference list should look like for various citations, as well as what the in-text citation looks like. And of course, I know a lot of my and you all are graduate students, but I know a lot of my juniors and sophomores, for whatever reason, have a hard time with in-text citations. So I tried to make sure I just give some examples on the research guide of what in-text citations are just to help you out a little bit. So let me get back to the main page. I'm going to go to Academic Search Complete. Now this is perfect because since I'm not on campus, in order for you to access any of our resources, you do have to put in the proxy, your WSSU credentials in order to access anything from the library off campus. So I'm going to just do my name and it's your email address. Oh, bless you. Your email address minus the @rams.wssu.edu, and I'm going to do my password. Okay, so hopefully that works. Not now. All right, so it worked, but something is going on with that link. All right, so let me go back to the research guide here. All right, guys, so let me try another one. It looks like something happened with the links, and I have to go back and clean up take a look at some of these links. So let me get to this database. Let's see if this link is going to give me what I want. And if not, whenever you do anything from the research guide, and if the links don't work, which I'm going to repair them because I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. If they don't work, I'm going to also show you another backdoor way to get to our resources. All right, so this is ProQuest Nursing and Allied Health. This is a really good database. So I always recommend before you start doing any searching that you, of course, do full text, peer-reviewed, and scholarly journals. So let me explain the difference between the peer-reviewed and the scholarly journals. They are one and the same except for one thing. Peer-reviewed articles have been really vetted to meet academic standards. That means they went through the process to get published. So if you have an article that you're interested in publishing, you send it to a journal. The journal editorial board will do one of three things. One, either they will take a look at it and they will accept it and it's published. Two, either they will look at it and say, oh, you got a couple of tweaks and modifications we need you to make before you publish it. Send it back to us with those changes and then we'll publish it. Or three, it gets totally denied. Scholarly journals don't go through the peer-reviewed process. However, scholarly journals are evidence-based content that are pretty much written by clinicians and practitioners. So if you ever see a place to select your scholarly journals, these are the policymakers. They do research, but they're also the policymakers. So make sure you select that link. I know ProQuest, and I want to say EBSCO has a link for peer-reviewed and scholarly. Science Direct, all of it is going to include peer-reviewed and scholarly anyway. ProQuest is just one of the few that allows you the option to differentiate, but I like it. I just recommend that you select both. All right, so now guys, somebody tell me what's a hot topic to search. So someone give me something to search. Any suggestions? Well, you don't want to give me the topic because mine is very boring. Because guys, I'm not a nurse I mean, I could come up with a topic. All right, so we'll stick with my favorite topic then, the phlebotomy injuries. If I could just keep remembering how to spell it. Okay, so we're gonna do phlebotomy injuries. Oops. All right, so let's do phlebotomy injuries. I'm gonna hit search and let's just see what we get. All right, so as you see, this database is a little different than the others. So we got 836 results. Let me show you how to shrink that. So I'm going to scroll down immediately. You don't want content from 1979 or 1970. So you just grab the little ticker. I'm going to scroll it all the way over to 2010. Let's hit update. 836 should shrink, and it did. It shrunk to 354. Okay, that's still a lot, but we can kind of work with that. Now, if you want to shrink it some more, you can come back down to the ticker. Let's say we just want to get to 2013. And let's say that 354 should really shrink, and it did to almost half. So that's fine. We can work with that. All right, so now let's take a look. Let's say these are some of the articles that have populated. So let's say I'm interested in this article. You come over to the preview button, you hit preview, and then the preview of the abstract should pop up. And then let's try this one. Preview of the abstract will pop up. You can take a glimpse at it and see, okay, yeah, I like this one. I'm interested in this one. So I'm going to select number 1, and I'm going to select number 2 and number 3. So let's say I'm interested in these 3 articles. But I just want to see what the citation is going to look like for these articles. So I'm just going to come to the Cite button. I'm going to hit Cite. And once you hit Cite, the citation populates. So I do want to bring a couple of things to your attention. So this is perfect. All right. So you all know the cornerstones of APA. I call this my 4 golden rules for APA citing. You already know it has to be 12-point Times New Roman font. No exemptions. That's what it has to be. And your references have to be alphabetized, and the whole page has to be double spaced, and it's a 1-inch margin, top, bottom, left, right. So if a lot of students, what they do, they like to cut and paste this, right? And they like to put it in a Word document. So if you were to do this, of course, this would be totally wrong, because I can tell you off the bat that this font is not Times New Roman 12-point. APA is very particular, and believe me, your professors have a trained eye. They can spot Times New Roman from 20 miles away. So a lot of times what students do, they take this, they cut and paste, and they put it in a document. If you do that, that's fine. I do recommend using the exporting of the citations. However, you have to be the smart one and clean it up, meaning you have to fix all these little nuances to make sure it's right, because your professors, they are diehard when it comes to APA. So if you bear with me, I am just going to see if I can walk you through basically what that looks like when you put it in your paper. So I'm going to close out of that. Let's see if I can open up another tab without doing much damage here. So I'm going to go back to Google, because I'm going to go to a Google account, because this is a Mac and I don't have Word on here, and I didn't buy it for Mac, so I'm just going to go to Google. You can use Google for anything. I absolutely love Google. I probably love Google than Google. All right, WSSU. All right, so I'm going to try to sign in here. All right, so let's see if this will work. All right, so I'm coming here This thing goes so fast. I'm trying to get to the grid because I want to get to, let's move this over here. All right, I want to get to my Gmail. I want to get to my Google Drive. And I saw the little, what you call them, just disappeared on me. Let me see if I can get there right quick. All right, because I was looking for my little icon. Yeah, let's go to Google Drive. That would be wonderful. And I should already be signed in. All right, so this is what I was looking for, that it disappeared. This is the grid. You can come here to access any of Google's application. So let me show you. I'm going to go to a Google Docs file. And now I'm just going to paste, I'm hoping. All right, so good. So let me show you, this is what some students like to do. And of course, this would be totally wrong. So let's take a look. This font, see, I was right, it's Verdana. You can't have that. So it's got to be Times New Roman. It needs to be 12 point, right? And of course, your page needs to be double space. Now, one thing I can appreciate about ProQuest, when they give you the citations, and I don't know if I can get back to it, but I'll try. When they give you the citations, they do a good job of alphabetizing it for you, which is really nice. So one thing I do want you to pay attention to, when you get any type of article from a database, you need to have this at the end. If the article does not have a DOI, and this is what I mean when I say DOI, the DOI stands for Digital Object Identifier. If the article does not have a DOI at the very end, then you need to put retrieved from such and such database like ProQuest has here. And as you can see, after you have retrieved from, there are no periods at the end. Now, for the articles that actually have a DOI, in APA's mind, the DOI is the period. So don't add a period because you could get points taken off. So the DOI, at the end of the DOI, there are no periods. And if an article does not have a DOI, make sure you have retrieved from in the website. So even if you retrieved it from an actual link, let's say you found the journal online. Let's say you found the journal online and, hold on guys, let me shut this down. Let's say you found the journal online and the journal, you wanted that link. So what you would do is cut and paste that link from the journal, and then you can put that retrieve from such and such, such and such. So I did want you to take a look at that because this is very important for when you're actually citing. If you pull it from a database, make sure you actually have the retrieve from, or even from a link, have that URL. Or if the article has a DOI, just put that at the end. So any questions about that? All right, so no questions about that. All right, so let's see if I can actually get back to my search results. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to scroll down here. I'm just taking a look at some of the articles. Now, let's say I like these 3 articles. What you can do is just come to email, and then you can email these articles to your email. So since I use APA most of the time, make sure you actually select this little button here so you can enable the list to come down, so you can make sure you get the latest APA edition, which is the 6th edition. So make sure you do that, and you may just have to highlight the bibliography box. Once you highlight the bibliography box, then you have the APA citation. Make sure that is the latest. So I have that. Put in your email address, and make sure when you send the articles from the database to your email, make sure you use your WSSU email. And the reason being, there is a proxy that is built into your email. And sometimes when you use Hotmail, Gmail, or any of those other Google accounts or emails, your persistent link may not open. So I'm going to put in my email address here. And let's see if I can scroll down a little bit. And then you will have to put in your name because ProQuest, for whatever reason, wants your name. And then you can put in a message, or if you choose not to, you don't have to. Scroll down and then hit continue. And then you should get a confirmation. So here's my email confirmation that those articles were emailed to my WSSU email, and they are going to be in the APA format. You know, what we just took a look here, they're going to be in the APA format. However, you will have to come and make sure you clean this up. You know how I went through double space that changed it to Times New Roman, that sort of thing. Because the databases, they do a really good job of exporting them for you. However, they don't care if it's not the right font size, if it's not the right, they don't care about all of those particulars, but you have to, because your grade is dependent on you having your paper cited perfectly. All right, so let's get back to this database here. So this is ProQuest. So I'm going to get out of ProQuest. Any questions about ProQuest? ProQuest happens to be one of my favorites. All right, so I'm going to close out ProQuest here. Let's close this out. And let's close this out. All right, so I am going to work on making sure that I get some of these links cleaned up, because the Sanal link, I don't think this link, I need to change this. The vendor, we actually invested in Sanal Complete, and oh, it actually worked. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. We actually invested in Sanal Complete, and the vendors kind of like changed the links on this, and I thought I had to go back and clean it up. But anyway, one thing I do like about this database, if you come here to choose databases, you can actually search multiple databases simultaneously. Now, EBSCO, which is this vendor here, they are the only ones that allow you that capability. EBSCO. ProQuest doesn't do it and the others don't do it, but EBSCO does. So right now we're in Sanal Complete because that's what I selected. I'm going to choose the database. So if you just want to know what a particular database is, scroll over the mag, take your little mouse and scroll over that little comment box, and the abstract or the synopsis of what kind of content you can get from that database will pop up. I like Academic Search Premier because you can get some really good content from there. So I'm going to select Academic Search Premier. Let's scroll down here. As you see, Sanal Complete is already highlighted. And these are the types of journals and articles you can get from Sanal Complete. Let's scroll down because I want to take a look at the health databases. So we have health, psychosocial instruments. I would like that one. The Health Business Elite, Health Source Consumer Edition. We also do want to take a look at PubMed. Don't rule out psych. The psych articles, believe it or not, from APA, and these are some really, you can get some really good articles here. So don't rule out some of the psych articles. And I want to say I have one more health source. I want to select that one. All right, so I'm going to hit OK. So now I am good with my search, right? I mean, I got my databases. So now I want to go to advanced search, because I do recommend that you do advanced search because it gives you more searching parameters here. So let's take a look at this. Full text, if you get a chance, always select full text because you can cut down your research time by getting articles. Make sure you're selecting full text. And remember when we talked about scholarly and peer reviewed? Well, this database it already has the scholarly built in, so let's select the peer reviewed. And now I think I'm ready to search. One thing too, keep this in mind. If you ever come across an article, and if we don't have if we don't subscribe to that journal and we don't have the full text, please never pay for an article. Email me the APA citation or the DOI or both, and I will look for it for you. If we have it, sometimes I can find a backdoor way to getting it, but please never ever pay for an article. And if I can't find it, I'll submit it onto Interlibrary Loan, and we'll try to get it that way for you. But please never pay for an article. All right, so let's say my new search here is going to be, what could I search now? Let's do diabetes. All right, so this is a common search. So I'm going to do diabetes and children. It's going to automatically search. I kind of hate when it does that because I have to go back in because I wasn't done putting in my search. I want to do diabetes and children. So what it's going to do is just research for me. And you see how when you type in your little key searching words here, it's going to go ahead and try to do a pre-search. Well, it tries to be so smart. All right, so take a look at this. We got, ooh, look at that, 13,000. That is way too many. So let's scroll down. Now we already limited our search. We already did full text and we did peer reviewed. So let's cut down this number here. We are not doing a history on diabetes and children, right? So let's take this down to like 2012. All right, so actually let's do 2013. So I'm going to type in 2013 in my little box right here. I'm going to hit return or enter. And hopefully that 13,000 would have shrunk to like, I don't know, maybe 100 or, oh no, it only shrunk to 2,000. So let's actually do like 2014. Let's try to get a more manageable number here. So let's see what is this one going to hit us with. And I know diabetes in children. I know you're going to tell, okay, we could just work with this one, right? So I'm going to scroll down. And of course, this is a little bit different than the ProQuest. But if you take your mouse, scroll over that little magnifying glass, as you see the abstract will pop up. And for this database, what you do is that you select the blue button to add it to your folder. So I've added this database, this article to my folder. And I'm going to add this one to my folder. I'm going to scroll down here. And I'm going to add this one to my folder. All right, so I have 3 articles from this database that I have added to my folder. So with the EBSCO databases, you just scroll up. You actually come to the folder view. You select folder. And then now we can actually take some of these. I'm going to select here because I want to email, and then you go through the same process. I'm going to select email, put in my WSSU email, and then of course here, unlike the ProQuest, remember the ProQuest, you had to enable a link to make sure you got your APA. Here you select citation format, then you make sure you look for APA. Okay, you make sure you look for APA. Now I'm going to show you what this one looks like as opposed to the ProQuest. And this one, I do recommend, like I said, you can put in a topic. I'm going to do practice. I do recommend that you use it to help you with your formatting. However, you have to go back and clean it up. So I'm going to hit send. So here's my confirmation. Let me hit continue. And I know I got it because I have email open on another computer here and I just heard it click. So I know I got it. But let me show you. Oh, shrink. Let me show you what this looks like. All right, so I'm going to go to select. I'm going to hit print because I want you to see what this version, with this database, what it looks like. Let me make this a little bigger. All right, so I'm going to come to citation format. Of course, it's going to be APA. I'm going to hit print. And I want you, so you see, this is what you're going to get. Let's cancel this. This is what you're going to get when you hit email for your articles from EBSCO. Now, let's take a look. These are the persistent links that I was referring to. So that's why I recommend that you do use your WSSU email. And then if you scroll down, these are your articles. But let's come back here. Okay, so if you take a look, I'm going to see if I can highlight. These are your citations, 1, 2, and 3. So as you can see, when EBSCO exports them, they don't put them in alphabetical order like the ProQuest did. So these are not in alphabetical order. And I do see a couple. So I'm going to cut and paste this and put it in the Word document. And I think I still have it open. Yeah, I do. All right, so I'm just going to come down here. I'm going to put that here. All right, so you see, take a look at this. Look at this font. This is definitely not Times New Roman, right? So you got to clean that up. So, you got to do the Times New Roman 12-point font. It's got to be double spaced. But just so you can see the differences in how the databases, and then plus one thing about EBSCO does not do a hanging indent. If you see, ProQuest automatically does the hanging indent, which is really nice. So EBSCO does not. You just have to clean it up. And of course, remember how we talked about the DOI at the end. EBSCO databases, if it's a DOI, no period, you're good. However, this one does not have a DOI. So what you need to do here is retype that you retrieve this from the EBSCO host database. And it would be even better if you could cut and paste and put the persistent link. So let's say for this article, because this is the link I'm referring to. So let's say for this article, this link goes with this article. So I'm going to cut and paste this link right here, because it will give you the permalink, because you need that. I'm going to go back to my Word document. I'm going to try to tab this over. I can see it's not going to work with me. But here is where I would put, no, not there, because that's the DOI, that's the wrong one. So let's say here, I'm going to put retrieved from, and put that persistent link. And of course, you would have to clean up the site. For whatever reason, my formatting is totally off in this Google Doc, and I don't have Word on here. But you kind of get the idea. So, because remember, if you get it from a database, and if it doesn't have a DOI, you have to put the persistent link, retrieve from, here's the link, and of course, you have to come in, clean it up, make it Times New Roman, make it black, that sort of thing. So I do recommend that you use the citation tools from the databases, because that's why they are there. But remember, you have to be the one to go back and clean it up. You have to clean it up because you don't want to get points taken off your paper. All right, so I'm going to expand this out. Any questions about what I've showed you so far? Any questions, any concerns? Because I do want to show you a couple more things with APA, and then that'll be it. All right, so silence gives consent. So I see you guys don't have any questions. And then most of you probably are aware of some of these things. So this is kind of like a refresher. But I do want to, let's get back here. I do want to show you one other database before we go directly into APA. And I need to make sure I add that. And let me see, did I add that to your guide here? I am looking for Science Direct. Yes, I did. Wonderful. Science Direct is another really cool database. And you can get some really good journals in Science Direct. So I'm going to show you Science Direct. All right, so let's stick with our little search here. I'm going to just do phlebotomy. I'm going to do phlebotomy, and then I'm going to come over here to the little advanced search. I'm going to hit that. And then, so these are all of my articles that have come up for phlebotomy. Now, one of the nice things I do like about Science Direct is that for the most part, all of their hits will give you a PDF, which is really, really cool, because you want to take a look at that PDF. So now let me open one PDF here. Let's see if I can open a PDF. One thing I do want you to remember, and a lot of times you all forget this, when you find a really, really, really good article, always remember to look at the reference page. Nursing articles, or any article dealing with nursing, always has, or science, always has a ton of references. So don't forget to look at the reference page. And I say that because when you look at the reference page, sometimes you can actually find a reference that will work for you. And of course, it still have to meet all of the criteria. Of course, it has to be, it has to be within your years. And you can't have, I wouldn't recommend you find something from 1990 and say, oh, I want to use this. But if you get something within your time span, when you do that, that actually does alleviate some time doing your research. So keep that in mind when you find a really good article. Let's close out of that. When you find a really good article, make sure you remember to look at the references. All right, so I did want to show you Signs Direct. Like I said, this is one. Signs Direct is one of my favorites that I really like. So now I don't see my little go-to meeting thing. I guess it disappeared, but okay. If you all have any questions, you could just ask me. All right, so I'm going to go here to the APA Citation Center. Just a refresher. If you just need to see what an APA paper looks like, if you come here, APA 6th edition, this is an example of what an APA paper looks like. Of course, it talks about the running head, and as you can see here, so you see how you have the word running head has to be on that first page. Of course, for subsequent pages, you don't have the word running head. And then for, and this is actually your running head. And of course, you remember page numbers top right. Don't be creative and put it top left, in the middle, bottom. APA is very specific and it's top right. Now, for those who just want some examples with how to use or using in-text citations, this example from the OWL at Purdue has a really good bit of in-text citations. And you guys know, in order to write a well-written research paper, you have to have in-text citations. I always tell students, if it is, of course, and you know this, if it is intellectual data or content that you did not create, make sure you cite it. So there are, if you take a look here, there are a lot of in-text citations. And of course, you see the title, your running head, and you see the page number top right. So don't forget to take a look at this example to get examples of what an in-text citation looks like. And I'm trying to get to the reference page, trying to see if I can get there a little faster. All right, so I want you to see the reference page. So you know how we played around with our undocumented here, right? So we just played around with that, more so the top than the bottom, because I don't know what's happening with my formatting down here. So if we come back to, okay, where'd it go? Here. All right, so you have your running head, page number. Remember, references is centered, but it's not bold. If you remember the exporting from the databases, it had it bold. So like I said, you really have to clean it up. And then as you see some examples of your citations here. So now I am looking here. So because you don't see the retrieval, maybe these individuals did not get any of these journals from the actual website. That is why you don't see a DOI, and that is why you don't see retrieved from. These individuals actually got their citations. They went and they found the hard copy of this journal in the library, and then they just cited it that way. So whenever you don't see retrieved from or the DOI, that means that this did not come from online. They actually physically got a hold of that journal and they cited information from that journal. So I did want to show you that. Now, before we go, let me get back here. I do want you to take a look at some things with the Citation Center. And I'm trying to get, if you look here, I do have some articles that with the DOI, without the DOI, but I wanted you to really take a look at, let me see if I can get to it. Here we go. The citing your articles with the 3 to 5, 6 to 7, 8 or more. So now let's say, for example, you have an article, and let's do 3 to 5, and you have an article and it's got 3 to 5 authors. One thing to remember, and actually let's not jump to 3 to 5 first. Hold on. Let's do the whole thing from 1 to 8 or 20. So when you have your in-text citation for 1 to 2 authors, as you can see, you just have the in-text citation is going to be, remember, in-text citation, last name and the year. That's it. Last name and the year, not the first initial, just last name and the year. And then when you look at your citation for your reference page, this is what it's going to look like, right? So when you have 2 authors, you see you have last name and the year. So you have Brenton Miles, or you can do it this way, Brenton Miles. That's it. And you list two authors and one author in first citation and subsequent citations. So if I were listing this article 5 times, I would just have Brent 2002 5 times for your in-text citation. For the in-text citation, if I'm going to do it just twice, for 2 authors, and I'm going to list this article, I'm going to reference to this article 5 times in my paper, then I would just have their name 5 times throughout the paper. When you get to 3 to 5 authors, all the way on up to infinity, that's when it starts to get tricky. So if you take a look at this and you're in text citation, so this is 3 to 5 authors. So I did 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So from 3 to 5 authors, in your first in text citation, you list all of their names from 3 to 5. So if it were 4, I would list all 4, 3, all 3. So this one I have 5. And as you can see, you can actually list it here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stated, da 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 da. So now in subsequent citations, so let's say I'm also using this article, I'm citing this article 5 times in my paper. So for the first citation, I list all their names, 3 to 5. Second and subsequent citations, you only do the main researcher, which is Brent. Brent is probably the main researcher. So you do Brent et al. In close parentheses, or Brent et al. And the year is just in parentheses. And of course, for your reference page, this is how it would look in your reference page. You list all 5 authors. So you see you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, when you get to 6, this is when it gets a little tricky. So 6 to 7 authors, right? And I know this is just a refresher, but I just wanted to remind you how it works with the authors. 6 to 7, in your first in-text citation, you only list the last name, which is the primary researcher. And then in subsequent citations, that's why we only have it here, it's only going to be Brent et al. I guess APA figured if you have 6 to 7 authors, we only want to see the last author, the primary researcher name. We don't want to see all the names in the in-text citation. So then when you get to the reference page, you list all 7 of the authors, or 6. So here you have Brent, Miles, da 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 da. You got all of them. You list them all in the reference page. But in the in-text citation, for the first citation, you list the author's last name and et al. And then for subsequent citations, you do the same thing. Now, this is when it absolutely gets very tricky and it is easy to remember. One thing about APA is that APA, if you have 20 authors, APA only wants to see 7 names. They don't want to see all 20 authors. They just want to see 7. So take a look at how they do this. All right, so let's say for grins and chuckles, this article has 20 authors. So if you take a look at your reference page, you are going to list the first 6 authors. So you have Brent, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to make that larger. You have Brent, Miles, Cooper, Davis, Smeaz, Masters. That's the first 6. Number 20 is the very last name of the very last name in the research article. This is the last researcher, Appleside. He's number 20. So remember, APA, they only want to see 7 names. They don't want to see all 20. So you list the first 6, which we did here, and then number 20 will be Appleside. That's the very last author's name in the citation. And of course, for your in-text citation, you only do the main author, the main researcher, that very first citation name, Brent et al. In the first citation, and Brent et al. In all subsequent citations. So I did just want to review that because I know sometimes that could be a little tricky with your APA citing. But if you ever get stuck, just take a look at the research guide. I have some really good examples that I think will assist you with citing if it gets a little tricky. I have some really good examples if it gets a little tricky. So we have about 6 minutes left. I really tried to be respectful of your time. Does anybody have any questions? Anything that I that I missed that you thought I should cover? And while you think about that, I'm going to go ahead and close out some of these things here. Any questions? Let's see, where is it? Okay, oh, let me close out of that. Any concerns? Because I just wanted to give you like a really, just a quick review, but just to remind you of some things when it comes to APA and then finding resources. And remember, if you use Google, please be smart about it. Don't just randomly search Google. Make sure you're strategic and you tell Google what you want by using Google's advanced search and then also using Google Scholar. And then as you can see, reminder, this is the link for the interlibrary loan. But like I said, just email me with your citations, the APA citation, or send me the DOI and I'll look for an article for you. And if I can't find it, I'll send it to ILL and we'll make sure we get it. And what I'm going to do is, like I said, I am recording this. So what I will do, and if it's not tomorrow, it'll be by Thursday. I'll make sure I post this in Blackboard. So if you just wanted to do a quick review, you could. All right, so that is basically all I have, guys. Any questions, any concerns? I'm going to start closing out some of these things here. Well, that is pretty much it.
Where in Blackboard will this be located?
Okay, now hold on. Let me turn up the mic. So now you said where in Blackboard was what now?
Where are you going to put this recording so if we need to reference back? I know you said Blackboard, but where
Right.
about?
Oh, okay. That's a very good question. What I would do, let me get to your Blackboard shell. What I will do, I will put it under the Librarian's Corner tab. So it'll be right above this link here for the virtual session. So I'm gonna get it and I'm gonna stick it right. It's gonna be under the Librarian's Corner tab and it's gonna be right above the GoToMeeting link. And when I send out the email, I will make sure that I preface and remind you that this is where I'm putting it. I'm gonna put it in the Librarian's Corner and it's going to be right underneath the MSN Research Guide. And it'll be like I'm going to upload it into YouTube so you can access it easily because I think GoToMeeting converts it like in an MP4, but I'm going to upload it into Blackboard. So that's why I said give me till about Thursday because YouTube is a whole lot more easier to access sometimes than Windows Movie Maker because that's what they converted to. Any other questions, guys? Well, I am going to I'm going to email you an assessment to fill it out for me. Please take the time and fill it out. That way I could know what we need to do maybe to make this a little bit, to make this session better and what other content I can actually show you. And if you would like, how many of you have had a chance to actually take a look at the Perla video?
I haven't.
Okay, so when you get a chance, I'm going to minimize this, not too much here. Hold on here. If you go to Blackboard, let me see. And I want to say, let me go back to the Librarian's Corner. Let me see if I have it here, okay? All right, so let's see, it should be here. Perla. Let me see if I got it under this link. Okay, so for those who have had a chance, and for those who haven't, Perla actually is a citation tool to help you with your citing. And
after installation, the Launch Perla icon will be on your desk.
And when you get a chance, take a look at it because a lot of students, nursing students, even graduate students, have actually looked at Perla and they've liked it. What it is a citation tool that helps you with your citing. And initially, some faculty members were like, "Oh no, they need to they need to learn how to cite APA like I did." But the thing about Perla is that it actually walks you through how to cite. And it is a fabulous tool. Now, the caveat is Perla is not free. It is $39.99. It's $40 basically. However, I always recommend that you download a free version because you could get it for free and it does not require a credit card to download. And Perla will give you one research paper. So you can actually type one research paper using Perla, and then that way you can figure out if it's something that you're interested in. If you have a few minutes, I can show the video right quick.
For that, don't you, like, I have a Mac and you have to, I don't know, my friend had said you had to download Microsoft 2011 for that.
Oh, so did you try the 2011? Or hold on. I really thought that they had a download for it. I thought they had a download for Mac.
There's a Pilot Complete, because that's what I was looking at, which I downloaded the free part for that, which I've been using some.
Okay. And so how have you liked it?
Um, I like it because it helps to where you can put all the information in. But I think to actually do the paper, and I'm not sure because I'm just getting used to using it,
Sure.
if you have to actually download um, Word or not, the 2011 version, because I think it doesn't work with the 2016 version or something.
Oh, well,
Or the,
okay. I'm so glad you mentioned that. Thank you, because I know I actually downloaded, and I'm using a Mac for this presentation, but I have a PC. I use PC at work. Well, I use both, but um, I did not have any problems, and that's probably because I was on the PC. So I'm glad you brought that up. So what I would do is experiment a little bit more and see how it works for the Mac. But for those students who have used it and have really liked it, it is really it's pretty cool to help you with your citing. Because, and I'm just trying to get to close out some of these things, because citing can be a pain, and you gotta make sure it's right, because the grad students, the professors, they show no mercy basically when it comes to citing. So if you get a chance, take a look at the video, and it's only 3 minutes. So take a look at the video and see if this might be something you'd be interested in. Because I've had nursing students to tell me, both undergrad and grad, mostly RN to BSN, and then grad nursing students to tell me that they absolutely love Perla. And so it's just something to consider to assist you, with your citing, so that part won't be such a headache. But guys, that's all I have. I am going to email you all, like I said, a short assessment. Please complete it for me. And then if you have any questions, the best way to get a hold of me, of course, is by email. So make sure you shoot me an email if you have any questions. And please don't spend money on buying, don't buy an article. Contact me first, and I'll see if I can get it for you. All right. So guys, that's all I have. So I hope you found that this was useful.
thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank
All right.
you. You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Wonderful. And I'll be emailing you the assessment. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So of course I got to figure that out. Where in the world? I don't know what happened to it. That makes no sense. Let's close out some of these things. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I don't know what happened to it. It totally disappears. I hate when it does that. Oh, wait, let's go back. What is the menu? Oh.